G'day guys, Mac of the Outer Circle. I have taken multiple stabs at recording this tonight, and I get very frustrated and start slinging names in nearly every one of those attempts, and I don't want to be doing that. I use words like simps and pathetic and despicable, and I don't want to be the person that's just attacking the community around him. No matter how valid I think my points are, that's unfair to do to other people. You see, this stems down to the fact that they've done a bunch of releases here at Adepticon, and I say a bunch of releases, it's two. It's two things they've shown in a trailer, and I'm very unimpressed and uninspired by these. And when I think about the community and their acceptance of it, I get very upset. And I don't normally form too much of an emotional attachment to the hobby, as it were. I know it sounds silly because, you know, Macca, the character of Outer Circle, is just a slightly heightened, dialed up to 11 version of Macca normal. And myself, that is. I don't know why I'm talking in the third person, but I'm trying to refer to myself as the character. And Macca normal does not get too invested emotionally. There's a lot of shrugging of the shoulders, and I can't believe they did this silly thing. Whereas Macca, the Outer Circle, gets, oh my god, these fucking idiots. Right, that's the difference. And so people think I have quite the emotional attachment. It's like, oh man, if you hate the hobby so much. I don't hate the hobby at all. You know, and they say, you need to stop making content. You clearly hate the hobby. Okay, because they get caught up in the character, as it were. The me personality to 11. Right, when really me personality at 10 is just regular levels of crazy. And the problem here is that I see a community that's very accepting of what I would call shit models. And you know, obviously it's subjective, yada, yada, yada. But the thing is, people often can't state why a model is great. They come up with all these reasons why it's not so shit and justifications, okay? And when you have to start justifying why a model is good, that should be, in my mind, the warning sign that it's not. So there are things that are good about this Beaky, okay? Hey, it's a Rogue Trader style Beaky Marine. They fit into the Horus Heresy nicely. Great, 2 thumbs up. I like the tactical look he's got going on. The bayonet's pretty sweet on the end of the weapon. Hey, tick, tick, tick. The armor itself looks great. So those are all things you can like about the model. But then you can go out and go, okay, but Beakies didn't constitute the bulk of forces in the Horus Heresy, especially not at the Siege of Terra. So why make this the principal power armor? There was very little of this armor in the Horus Heresy. In the Scouring, that period straight after the Horus Heresy, where the Imperial forces basically take back the galaxy from Horus, that's when this armor became ubiquitous and was everywhere. Okay? So why is it being featured now? Well, they're featuring it now because they want this armor, the iconic Beaky, to be the poster child of Horus Heresy. That is not good for me, the player, as a person who is invested in the world building of the Horus Heresy. This is a good move for one entity alone, and that entity is Games Workshop. So why would people support this move? And that is the thing that boils down to in my head, is why are people, you know, standing up and applauding them? Because this is a very cynically minded move. This is a move that benefits one entity alone, and that is Games Workshop. For there is already plastic power armor out there. It's a different scale to this. I can tell you that because you can use simple measuring tools in programs like Photoshop, or I can even import images into something like Fusion, and I can measure this miniature and go, okay, well, the base to the height of the miniature, and okay, this is clearly a different scale. It's about a half a head taller. It's pretty much the same as the 40k Chaos Space Marines. So that's pretty big. Okay, I can tell that. So how does this benefit me? Because they could have re-released Burning of Prospero or Betrayal at Kelth with the Heresy 2.0 rules, and I would have been perfectly content, and I think 99% of the community would have been perfectly content. There's always going to be that 1% of the community, though, that's just happy to see anything new. But my question boils down to, why be thankful for this and why I support this, because this is not a net benefit to the player. It's really just a lateral shift, okay? And the miniatures themselves do not feel Horus Heresy. I mean, look at this guy. I have a hilarious little bit I pre-recorded prior to actually making this, because it was the one thing I could get my feelings out correctly with and have a bit of a laugh, and I'm sure people will take it too seriously, but I'll slap it at the end of the video so you can enjoy it. And there is nothing Horus Heresy about this Marine. And people will justify, they'll find a myriad of ways, like, oh, he's basically a Chaos Space Marine now, or, he's wearing Artificer armor, or the skulls on the totem on the back, it's a Horus Heresy, Sons of Horus thing having skulls, and, all those little coins dangling down the chest there, the turges, that's like ancient Roman centurions had all the little shields on their armor, the little rundles and vesicues. Anything can be justified, guys, but again, you're fishing for it. Don't fish for it. Be honest. Be honest with yourselves, because I'm going to say what you're thinking, but you're too scared to say, okay? This is a 40k inspired Space Marine who a sculptor decided he liked, so he made. And it features elements of Gravis power armor, especially around the enlarged gorget around the head. It features some nod to Heresy power armor in the form of the rivets on the left shoulder pad, but the armor looks like a Stormcast Eternal's armor, especially with that vambrace, the armor on his left forearm there with the big jewel on it. That's very, very Stormcast Eternal. The weapon looks like that giant axe of the Nurgle Terminator Lord. His armor, you can't even tell what type it is. And this is important to me, because some people call it rivet counting and such, but they're trying to take my valid concerns and downplay them as invalid because it's just a fun hobby. That's the excuse people like to use. There is no seriousness at all in this. It's just a fun hobby. Well, I'm sorry. For some of us, we treat it like it's a semi-historical event, okay? We are trying to reenact and play battles set in the worldly universe of the Horus Heresy. And when you just ignore the universe it exists in to create whatever you feel like, you're suddenly destroying that thing, okay? It's just not quite the same. And this is not Artificer armor, and that's the excuse too many people have taken to using. Oh, this is a special variant of Mark III armor, or this is... No. Artificer armor is meant to be, going back to the oldest days of 40k in those little codex entries, a master-crafted variant of power armor built to the finest level of quality. That doesn't mean that it looks completely fucking different to every other type of power armor, okay? And yet that's what you're seeing right here. It is completely different to other types of power armor. And it looks crap. And the pose up on that tactical rock, like, I can forgive a tactical rock if it's actually adding to the miniature to some extent, like it's being used creatively in the posing in the miniature. This guy would look exactly the same if you took away the rock and you tilted him 3 degrees to his left, so he's just standing flat-footed on it. It would look fine. It adds nothing to the miniature, and yet there will be people out there, I guarantee it, there's probably people in this video right now typing the defense for this model saying how this is the best model ever released for 40k. And I don't care, because they're lying. They're lying to me, they're lying to themselves. Worse than lying, though, they're bullshitting. And there's a big difference between lies and bullshit, really. Lies are when you tell an untruth. Bullshit is when you tell an untruth to screw over another person. And they are bullshitting the community. And they try and have these defenses of everything that Games Workshop does wrong. There's always a defense for it. Okay, they just hand wave away legitimate concerns. And yet when the shoe is on the other foot and you try and point out legitimate problems, then they get very defensive about it. And it's always, everything is sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. And I can't stand that attitude. And it's very, very upsetting to me. So, anyway, I've managed to get this far through the video without insulting too many people. The original video was pretty bad. I don't know if I'll delete it. I might save it for like a special upload one day, so people can see just how... I think I dialed the Maca character up to about 12 in it from the regular 11, we'll say. But yeah. So the model's bad. It doesn't look like the universe it's meant to be in, and a good way to tell if a model is a good fit into the universe, and some people will say, well, what did you want? More plain Mark II armor or something like that, right? Some really dumb hand wave to justify a crap model, right? To say, well, actually, you're in the wrong for having feelings or having an opinion about this subjective piece of art. That is just wrong. But I'll ask them this. Would this model work in other armies? That's my question. Like, with that trophy rack on the back, do you think this model here would make a good Ultramarine? I think that would be pretty questionable. What about a Salamander? A Salamander's well known for their use of human skulls as decoration. You know, I don't think so, okay? And how are you going to convert this model? I mean, the pose is so blah that you could cut off the hands, I guess. I mean, you can't do much about the shoulders, it looks like, from the way that cloak seems to be posed as part of the shoulder pads. So what are you going to do? Put a boarding shield on his left hand and a power sword in his right or something? Well, how inspired a conversion that is. You know, yeah, okay, people who are skilled, sufficiently skilled, can cut apart the legs and pose him in all different ways. And those people do exist, yes, but straight out of the box, someone buys this. It comes in that box set, most likely, because in that trailer, we saw this guy in that trailer. And he's clearly a generic Legion Praetor of some kind, because there's zero Legion iconography on him. So you buy your box set, and you collect something like, I don't know, Emperor's Children. Okay, would this guy fit into Emperor's Children? The perfectionist, the sleek, fast-skilled Emperor's Children? Probably not. What about Raven Guard? Well known for their use of beakies, so, you know, perfect box set for them. Again, probably not. With your giant meat cleaver, it's not a thing. Thousand Suns, okay? Thousand Suns, not really well known for their top knots and Bane rebreathers on their face, channeling their inner Fury Road. And that's the thing. It's not a good model for those reasons. And it's important to stress that because there is way too much defensiveness and way too little objectiveness in this hobby. Because at the end of the day, what we want as hobbyists should be what's best for the hobby and best for us and best for getting new people into this hobby long term and sustaining it. Not what generates short-term sales and revenue for Games Workshop. And right now, this here to me, for all the good it does, and it does good, and I do like it. I like my beakies. This is trying to create a poster child because they can't use Mark IV. They can't use Mark IV or Mark V because they are too similar looking to the Primaris. The face doesn't work on the promotional images, whereas this beaky stands out. It's very different to Primaris Marines, and that's the only reason they went for it. I'm willing to put money on it. Is entirely for marketability. To have a face that they can put on Horus Heresy artwork. And I mean, think of that trailer with lanky Gumby Horus here. Think of that trailer and think about what you saw in the background of that. How many of the traditional tanks and vehicles did you see? We saw a heap of images of these Kratos tanks, okay? Which, by the way, are basically a Land Raider's stats with a battle cannon for their main gun. Oh, fuck, do I have the rules to Heresy 2.0? Yeah, I do, that's right. Yeah, it's a Kratos battle tank, guys. Anyway, so they show that, and they dwell a bit on Horus and a lot on the Titanicus and the Marines in the Mark VI power armor with the bolt guns. But what you don't see is Castellax and Thalax and Vulturax. You don't see Solar Auxilia and Imperial Army. Because I think the direction they're trying to take it is Marine-on-Marine game. Which is the perception I think many people have held, wrongly, that bias towards the Horus Heresy. And the Horus Heresy is not a Marine-on-Marine game. It is full of different options. Yes, you have Marines, but the chapter, or the Legions, are so dissimilar to one another in play style that they do feel like different factions compared to 40k. And when it comes to the other factions in there, I mean, you've got Mechanicum, Solar Auxilia, Imperial Militia, Legio Custodes, Sisters of Silence, Imperial Knights, Demons of the Ruin Storm. There's Mechanicum, which also has multiple flavors, whether you go for Tagmata, Auto Reductor, there's all these different flavors of Horus Heresy available, and yet the trailer is just boiling it down to Marine on Marine, with Gumby Horus giving his little voiceover as he walks around like a dumb stompy Terminator instead of an Initiative 6-7 Primarch. It's the little things that get me, and there'll always be those people who justify it. Well, I'm sick of people who justify things. We need more people who stand up for their principles and say, this is crap. Stop trying to turn this game's direction into 40k. Because if we wanted 40k miniatures, we would buy 40k miniatures and use them. But we want 30k. We want the Horus Heresy. And it's not just enough to say you're releasing a new box. We had boxes, you pulled them. You created a problem, removing Betrayal at Kelth from circulation, and you're providing the solution to it by new Mark 6 Marines. That is not a solution. It is an engineered problem. Anyway, that's enough before I go off on a tangent. Enjoy the joke at the end of this video, and don't overthink it. Someone will be really overthinking it. It's a fucking meme. Just enjoy the meme, guys. Mac with the Outer Circle. And the meme represents exactly what I thought when I saw this miniature, and I posted a comment, and the next few comments that came after I posted it were basically people saying the exact same comment, and none of them were praising it. So draw from that what you will. See you all on the next one.
Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that?
Billy the Intern.
Sir!
Gravis Primaris Marine.
Sir, yes, sir! How did it get here? Sir, because I'm too heavy, sir! Because you are a disgusting fat body!
40k.
Sir, yes, sir!
Billy the Intern.
Has dishonored himself and dishonored
The fans of Horus Heresy.
I have tried to help him, but I have failed. I have failed because you have not helped me. You people have not given
Billy the Intern.
the proper motivation. So, from now on, whenever
Billy the Intern.
fucks up, I will not punish him. I will punish all of you. And the way I see it, ladies, you owe me for one.
Gravis Primaris Marine.
Now get on your faces. Open your mouth. They're paying for it. You eat it.